Hey everybody, it's that time. It's time to come up into the kitchen and have a little conversation with Granna. That's right, it's kitchen time, kitchen talk with Granna time, okay? We're gonna be conversating today about some things that I've been thinking about. But before we get started with this conversation today, you guys know what that routine is. I need you to go ahead, look down at the bottom of your screen, right down there. Go ahead and take care of that thumbs up button. Go ahead and share my video with all your family and friends. And if you have not become a follower of Granna, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as you're sharing my video with your family and friends, just go ahead and make sure they subscribe to Kitchen Talk with Granna also, okay? All right, so at the end of this conversation, you can come back and give me any comments that you would like to give me once the conversation is done, okay? All right, so let's get it popping up into the kitchen today. All right, so today we're gonna talk about unemployment versus work, going back to work, okay? All right, you guys know when they started this stay at home and this pandemic kicked off and, you know, about 4-6 weeks ago, a lot of people was laid off from their job. You know, they was temporarily laid off until this pandemic kind of died down and they can come back to work. So you also know that the government increased that unemployment, whereas they would have been getting like $275, $260 a week. They took that up to $600 additional, which taking it up basically to about $875, okay? So you get an $875 a week and of unemployment to be at home. I mean, and it wasn't your choice to not go to work, and you know, that's understandable. But how come they're able to increase this unemployment with this pandemic going on, whereas a lot of states, and I'm just going to talk about the state of Alabama. Here in the state of Alabama, a lot of people wasn't making that kind of money, you know, weekly on their paycheck. And some of them wasn't even bringing home $875 every 2 weeks on their paycheck, working, you know, a 40-hour, 80 hours bi-weekly job. They wasn't even bringing home that kind of money. So how is it that they can come up with this money to increase this unemployment during this time, but here in Alabama they can't even, you know, change the minimum wage rate? Okay, the minimum wage rate here in Alabama is still $7.25. Now, I will give you that there is a lot of places around here that's paying a little bit more. You know, some of them will take it up to $8. And then I know like the Walmart and Target and places like that, they're starting their, I guess you could say they lower class positions, the lower positions in the store. I think they're starting those associates off with like $9, okay? And then it goes up from there, depending on what your job title is and what you're hired in to do and stuff. But then there's still a lot of places around here when it comes to the service areas, when it comes to, you know, some of the service areas, even some of the, you know, fast food places. Some of them I think is right at $8 an hour, and some of them are still paying $7.25 an hour, okay? So it's just crazy that they can come up with this money temporarily for these people to get unemployment, but you can't put you can't up the rate, the minimum pay rate to at least, you know, just come up to, if you bring it up to $10, you know, because even working at $9 an hour, $8 an hour, you don't even make $875 every 2 weeks once they take your taxes out of it and everything. You're not even bringing that kind of money home anyway. So it's just crazy. It's just something I'm thinking about. And then, you know, you got people that's screening their phone calls because, you know, they just started reopening up some of the businesses and having people to come back to work. They going through the different phases of opening up different business. And, you know, the ones that they starting to open back up, you know, the employer is trying to reach the employees and tell them, you know, get ready to come back to work. These folks are screening their phone calls. They not answering their phone calls. They're talking about they want to draw this unemployment all the way up to the deadline. And I think they got to July to draw this unemployment. They not trying to give up that $875 because, like I said, a lot of them, it's not even bringing that much home a week or bi-weekly, however they pay period falls, to maintain their bills and everything. I mean, a lot of people are living from paycheck to paycheck and was struggling just to get by on what they was working. Even when they get a chance to throw a little overtime off in there, you know, they still was struggling to pay their bills. But then you want to get them this $875 temporarily and not look at the overall problem that's going on, you know, with where the minimum wages is anyway. So they not trying to answer no phone calls. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing, because when they do decide to answer, or when it does get closer to this unemployment running out, and they say, okay, it's time to go back to work, they may not have a job. Because I've heard on the news where they were saying that if these people are not responding or willing to come back to work, then they're not going to hold these positions. You know, if they offer the job and they've opened it back up and they contact them and say, hey, come back to work, and they're not willing to come back to work, then they're going to lose their position, and then they're going to automatically lose their unemployment, because they're going to know that your job has contacted you. You know, and if you continue to get paid and continue to draw it, then it's going to come back and bite you anyway, okay? But I can understand why they want to take full advantage of this $875 a week, because that's a lot of money. You know, that's what, about $3,500 a month, you know, somewhere around there. That's a lot of money to be bringing in weekly when you were working 40 plus hours a week, and you still was not bringing in $875, even after getting some overtime here and there. So I can understand all that, but it's just crazy, you know. I see them doing all these different, putting all these different measures in place financially to help the citizens get ahead and get back. But then, you know, before all this stuff started, there was no money. There was no money for unemployment. You got denied instantly. And there are still some people that has not received an unemployment check and continually getting denied. And then there is some people that's putting in for unemployment that know they didn't have no job before this started. So of course you're gonna get denied. You haven't worked in 6 months before this got going on. So what make you think you're gonna be able to go and put in a claim for your unemployment when you was already unemployed 6 months prior to the coronavirus kicking in and doing what it was doing? But, you know, people are going to try anyway. They're still going to put it in. They're still going to, you know, do it weekly, you know, sit there and complete their requests on a weekly basis and still getting denied, because when they go back to investigate that, they're going to pull from the last job that you worked first. And if it's showing on record that you hasn't worked that job and over 90 days, you know, it's not gonna help you get unemployment. It's just not. And then, you know, I was sitting up here watching the news about this unemployment, and up in Kentucky, I think it was, up in Kentucky, some nut done went in there and submitted a claim under the name of Tupac Shakur. Okay, I mean, really, I mean, that just didn't make no sense. You were wasting time for someone else's requests to be completed and to be reviewed, while you're going in here falsifying, putting in Tupac Shakur, you know, knowing that it was not, knowing it was gonna flag, it was gonna be red flagged, and it was gonna draw attention to that name, you know. And I think they said they had someone in the state with a name pretty similar to Tupac Shakur name, but you know, it's crazy what people do for a joke, you know, when not looking at the whole picture, that's gonna, you know, slow the process down, and it's gonna make someone else unemployment take longer, because they're stopping now to investigate this claim that has been put in under Tupac Shakur's name. So it's just crazy. I just sit back and I just watch the news every day. It's something different. I just sit back and trip. And when they was talking about these folks not answering their phone calls and these folks don't want to go back to work, I'm like, well, on one hand, you can't really blame them because they was probably barely making above $725 and they wasn't not bringing home this kind of money every week. And now you want them to go back to this job, and eventually they're gonna have to do it anyway. You know, they're gonna have to go back, or they're gonna have to find another job. Because if they continue to scream their calls and not take that call from that employer, and they go ahead and submit to the unemployment that they have reached out to this person, then they're gonna lose their unemployment benefits and they're gonna lose their job. They're gonna have to end up, you know, starting all over. You know, maybe they had some time build up. Maybe they had been there for a while. So, you know, I guess they got to look at all that. But, you know, sometimes people, they just let money rule them. You know, sometimes they don't look at the big picture and like, okay, this is good for right now. And it's going to get me ahead. But, you know, thank God I have a job to go back to because this is temporarily. You know, they not looking at all that. They just looking at weekly. They got this money going into their account, you know, $875 tax-free money going into their account every week. And all they got to do is sit back and resubmit their claims or you know, continue to update their claims on Sundays. I think they do it on Sunday nights and stuff. So they're not trying to give that up, and they're just sitting back enjoying that. And you know, I don't know if they're doing what they're supposed to do with it. I just know a lot of the time when people get extra money, they don't do what they're supposed to do. You know, they start talking kind of like at the side of their neck. You know, before that unemployment hit, they're gonna, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and get these bills paid up, and I'm gonna put myself ahead so when I go back to work, then I'm good. And then once that money hit their account, all that just goes out the window. They forget all about that. They forget they even got bills. I'm sorry. So it was just something I've been thinking about with this unemployment. Like I say, there's so much going on. Each state is going through different phases that they're reopening up and putting people back to work and people being able to get out and all that. So, you know, I'm really happy about that there are some people that's able to get their job back and go back to work. You know, I would be glad for a lot, you know, I'll be happy when everyone is able to get back to a regular routine as regular as it can be with all this going on, and they'll be able to go back to work. Your small business will be able to open back up, and everybody can, you know, start putting one foot in front of the other and trying to, you know, get a step ahead and stuff. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, you know, this unemployment, it is crazy. It just amazed me how all this money just starting to just fall from the sky. You know, they get money to send out these stimulus checks. They get all this extra money to do your unemployment claims. You know, all this money is just falling out of the sky, you know, for the citizens now and being there. And, you know, before, like I said before, four months ago or 3 months ago, you couldn't get a hand up. You couldn't get anything extra, you know. You couldn't, you know, if you lost your job, you definitely had to go through a lot to get unemployment because your jobs will make it hard for you to get it. A lot of jobs will, you know, terminate you for the littlest thing, or you get terminated for certain things, then you're not going to get unemployment. You know, if you get terminated because you didn't have a babysitter, you've missed too much work or anything with your attendance and all that, you're not going to get it. You know, there's a lot that they look at when they're screening for these unemployment checks anyway. So that made it very difficult for people to get unemployment, you know, to start with. So now they got all this extra money that they're giving out with the unemployment. Of course, people are going to be applying for it. Of course, people that has not worked in 6 months are going to apply for it, knowing they're not going to get it, but they still going to apply for it because it's just so much before all this happened to just get this, get this service and to get these benefits and stuff. So I understand all that. I hope everything get worked out. I hope everyone that has not received unemployment that deserves to get unemployment will soon get their unemployment approved and get that money into their hands before all this run out coming up in a couple of months, before this stuff runs out and stuff. So I'm just praying everything continually to get better, and everybody start to see the light at the end of the rainbow. I'm just hoping and praying for that, okay? All right, guys, I'm gonna let you get up out of here, but I just had to bring that unemployment. I had to talk about that $875, okay? We had to talk about that, okay? But I'm gonna get ready and get you guys up out of here. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Hey, make sure if you're out and about, you're still wearing your mask. I don't have mine with me today, it's in my car. But make sure you're still wearing your mask. Make sure you're still practicing social distance, and just give a smile to everybody. Even though you're smiling behind that mask, just continue to spread the love. And guys, live your best life. Just live the best life you can. And everybody just have a great day. And I'm gonna see you guys next time around, okay? Bye.